Hi guys, and welcome to this new Alakazam show. This is called The Deep Dive, where every week, hopefully on a Sunday, we will be launching one of these shows, and we're going to be talking to a creator that has got a new product to hit the market. Now, some of them might be a few weeks old, and in the future I am looking at maybe incorporating what I used to do, which was the hidden gems as well. But the whole idea is to speak to the creator so you can get a better idea on the effect that's being sold on our website. And it's a deep dive into the product. So we're going to really try and dissect it and tell you why it's so good and what are the benefits of it. And hopefully at the end of this, you will have a better idea of whether that product's for you or not. And also, you'll get to hear how the creator came up with the idea, because that's what always fascinates me, being a creator myself. I'm always interested to hear how and why the trick came into fruition. So also just want to say, because this is on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you will be notified every single time we go live with a video. And remember, we also have our live show which goes live on YouTube and Facebook every Tuesday at 2 p.m. And now I've got my office set up for streaming. Who knows, we might do some evening ones as well. So without further ado, let's introduce our special guest this week, and it's my good friend, Mr. Joel Dickinson.
Oh,
hello, mate.
I'm joining in with the clapping to make it sound like there's lots of people.
How are you?
Hey, Peter. Oh, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm great, mate. I mean, you've been doing... I've known you for many years anyway. One of the nicest guys in Magic, always smiling. I don't know how you're always so happy, but you always are. But you've been up to loads. You've got your subscription service. You've been bringing out some killer effects. I mean, you had an effect you brought out with us called Solitude Extreme, which is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, pop over to the website and check it out. But tell us a bit about Joel and what you've been doing with your magic company, because you're a full-time performing magician as well as running your business.
That's right, yeah. So I've been performing full-time for around about 23 years. And within the amount of time of actually being a performer, I've also created like a big array of my own routines. Head out and perform. But I would say for around about the past 7 years, I've primarily been focused on releasing and creating magic into the magic community, really. So that is what's keeping me busy. And like you said, I'm running a magic subscription service at the moment, and that is really keeping me busy and keeping me on my toes as well, in the sense that I'm always thinking of new ideas and, things for that subscription service in the future. But my ethos with this is that the magic has to be strong, it has to be workable, not only to camera, but you've got to be able to head out and perform it, to people or whatever the situation is that you're in, that it's adaptable to environments and things like that. So I'm here in what I call the Miracle Studio. This is where I just kind of sit and create magic, really. So yeah. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it and enjoying the process of it, really.
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's no easy task to keep creating new content. I mean, I saw a video you put up the other day, which was a fantastic rope routine and a linking rings routine. They were great. And they're the type of things that you teach on the Miracle Factory, is it?
It's called the Miracle Studio.
The Miracle Studio.
There's a lot of magic, a lot of mentalism, and it's really nice because it's stuff that I am not kind of commercially releasing. It's stuff that's very kind of exclusive to that platform, if you like. And I think the one thing that I really like about it is there isn't pressure to be keeping, certain businesses and things like that happy with the and it's just I've got myself and the people who have subscribed that I'm really kind of, pushing my material out to and sharing. And it's nice to have the pressure off my shoulders to be, keeping other companies happy with my releases, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I get that.
Yeah.
So this latest release of yours, I know that I've been looking at the forums. Everyone's loving it. It's quirky, it's colourful, it's different, it's full of fun, and it's a great prediction effect. Now, I know you're going to perform it on me live in a moment. So shall we watch the trailer first? Then we'll talk about how you got into it and how it actually came about. And then you can give us a live performance as well.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
Okay, so let's take a look at the trailer.
Hello, I think we're on.
That's really good.
Hello, I'm Joel, and I am here to tell you all about this. Picture consequences. On the back, I predicted the entire outcome ahead of time.
That's brilliant. How did you know?
To begin, you introduce the board for the game, and then you display a variety of different heads, bodies, and legs. And now you introduce the rules for the game. Your participant begins by selecting a head. They can even change their mind. Then they select the body, and finally, the legs. Your participant has created a unique piece of art from a large array of options, yet somehow the magician knew exactly what they would choose well ahead of time. This routine takes multiple outs to a whole new level. What do you want to change the legs for?
I'm going with the ballerina.
The ballerina legs.
Yeah.
Is there anything at all that you want to change?
No, I'll stick with that.
You're happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy
and
with
these
that.
are all your decisions and all of your choices.
Yeah.
Right? The truth is, this game never existed. This was actually just a little psychological test to see how you would do.
Right, okay.
All right, it might seem a little bit strange, but do you remember I introduced the box right at the beginning?
Yeah.
What do you see here? Red, green, yellow. Look at the order you just picked. Red, green, and yellow. But check this out, just to prove that you have been influenced completely. Inside the box are 3 extra cards, and they match your choices.
No way. That's really good. Top notch. I know you're not going to tell us how it worked, but how does it work? That's fantastic.
Oh,
unbelievable.
There you go. You've just been influenced.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
That was brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
I'll be thinking about that all night now. That was done.
It's unique, it's engaging to everybody, including adults and children. It's colourful, and there is literally zero memory work.
Good.
Proving that you've just been influenced.
Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
It's really good. I like that.
Yeah,
And it's lovely and colourful. It'd be great, like you say, for adults or children.
Yeah. That's what I like about it, is the colour. The
Yeah.
colour of it is just
Nice and visual.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. So there you go.
Fantastic. Nice one. Very good. Very
you.
good.
Thank you for watching.
I like it.
That is so good.
Yeah, do you like it?
So good. And you've been very open about the method on the trailer, which is one of my favourite methods in mentalism or magic anyway. I know it's one of those sort of... I think a lot of people don't understand the power of a multiple out. It's like a lot of people frown upon multiple outs the way they frown upon like rough and smooth or short and long. Now these methods are killers. Multiple
Absolutely.
outs for a lay person is a brain fry.
It's solid. I think the one nice thing, particularly about multiple outs, I know you mentioned rough and smooth, and other methods that can be frowned upon because they're like an existing method that we built ideas from. think the one thing that's really nice about multiple outs is that everything is there and everything is absolutely solid, if you see what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, although you're going to deviate with the route that you're taking with your performance, it's still leading to one subsequential kind of out, and the happening is always what you're saying it's going to be. You know, something happens in the sense that you're influencing the outcome or whatever your presentation is, but for the fact that you've got everything there in front of you and you're in full control of what happens, I think that's where multiple outs, you know, have their strength, really.
Yeah.
And I've done quite a lot of work with this. I'm happy to talk about some of it as well. Obviously, I'm not gonna, you know, if you have questions or whatever about the routine, I'll show you it and we'll talk about it. So I'm more than happy to talk about certain things and and why they work and how they work.
We just, funnily enough, we just filmed an explanation for a multiple out routine yesterday. And I was saying, it's even though multiple outs, in effect, are self-working routines, but they do require practice, because you need to know, without umming and ahhing, without pausing, where you're going to go. That's the strength of a routine like this, because when you do your reveal, they've got nowhere else to go with it. There are only 3 cards in that box, and they match the 3 cards that they chose. I mean, that's super powerful to a layperson. So give us a bit of the history behind this effect.
Yeah, of course I will, yeah. Right, so the history, in the sense of how I originally came up with this, was I was actually doing a drawing duplication on my girlfriend. And when I peeked her actual drawing, I couldn't quite figure out what it was. So what I actually did was, when it came to me duplicating the image that I was seeing, I actually drew a body that matched the head. Well, and it didn't match, but it just really tickled her, and made her laugh. And a few months after, you know, we would often talk about that time that I drew this picture, and it made us giggle. Well, it was my birthday, and for my birthday, she actually framed them 2 pictures and gave me it as a little present. And when I opened it up, I just really, really laughed. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I placed that image next to my bed, just plonking it down in the picture was on the bedside table, if you like. And there was one night when my little baby Kobe, he wouldn't sleep and he was up all night. And I remember lying there trying to get some sleep, and I rolled over and I looked at this picture and I laughed about it because it just made me giggle. And then I started to think about the heads, the body, the legs, and just kind of that is literally where it started. Just seeing this funny image, of this badly drawn head. It was like, honestly, Peter, what she'd drawn was like this cat face with elephant ears. And when I said to her, "What's that?" she was like, "Oh, I don't know what I've just drawn." And we were laughing. So, it's a shame I haven't got it here, because honestly, you would laugh. It was just horrendous. Let's just say the nose that she drew for it looked a little bit phallic, to say the least, and it wasn't intentional. But it was just this horrendous, and it just made me laugh. And that's when I remembered about the principle that I'm using. It is multiple out, but it's used in a different way, because they make a variety of different selections. Yeah. And even to this day, I still haven't managed to kind of quite track back to where this actually kind of originates from. And there's one good friend of mine who's passed away, unfortunately, very recently, called Adam Hudson. And he's the guy that I would go to saying, "Adam, can you remember this principle?" And he would, without a doubt, be able to tell me it. But I've done a lot of work on it, It's that principle plus a few other combined ideas to try and make it that little bit different, And I think, I in the design process, I kind of decided I really want this to look like the kids' game, so that's where I put a lot of colour into it. And, I think people who have probably seen the trailer are likely to think that this is going to be more suited to children. it isn't most suited to children. It's suited to children and it's suited to adults. And together, children and adults can work together to make this image. It does work for children and it does work for adults, because there's nothing mentally taxing in the sense that a child isn't going to understand what's going on. They absolutely will. But at the same time, the power of the revelation of, the thing that they've just created, when showing it to an adult, they're going to be absolutely baffled and bamboozled, So,
yeah, and it is like, for an adult, we all remember those books we got when we were a kid. I presume you can still get them now, where you would make up those images. Right. And that's the nice thing about it as well, is they're not weird props being introduced. I think as soon as you bring that out, you understand what it is. And we used to have them like the funny Facebook, where you used to have the eyes, then the nose, then the mouth, and you used to flick through and make your own pictures. And there were magic tricks, and there have been magic tricks in the past that use that sort of matching principle. But I haven't seen one that uses the principle of matching to have a prediction effect that isn't. The only ones I've seen are more like a Svengoli, they're more like a false. Whereas this one is a free choice to the spectator. Yeah. And it's quite interesting because you're giving them the ability to be as creative as they want with the image. Yeah. So really, you are reading the crazy thought that's gone into their mind. Even the fact that when they do that picture, it's going to be crazy. And you can say, look, you're the only person that could have come up with that crazy image. Who would have thought about the octopus legs on a whatever and so forth? And, now you're giving it that true feeling of mind reading, because you can stress the point, no one else would have come up with that. That's your crazy mind, and it's it's great. So would you like to give us a bit of a performance on it so we can see the full routine?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then I've got a few more questions for you as well.
Sure, yeah, of course I will. I'll actually kind of demonstrate to you how I would perform it to you as if you haven't seen it. All right. Yeah. So great. So Peter, I'm not sure if you remember the game Picture Consequences. Do you remember that at all?
I do not.
No? This is Picture Consequences. It's very likely you'll recognise it in a moment. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you exactly what it is. All right? You have different choices and different decisions to make.
Right.
So I'm going to start just down here. All right? And what I have, if I'm going to stand up here so you can see this, I have a lot of different cards with different heads, different bodies, different legs, and so on. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
And what you are going to do, you are going to make your own. Can you see all of that okay?
I can.
Yeah. Excellent. You're going to make a unique piece of art. All right? This is actually traditionally a kid's game, and I'm pretty sure now you probably recognise what it is. I think the ball, the head, the body, and the legs give it away, right? Well, if I was to take some of the cards, and let's say I place the clown with the caveman body with some ballerina legs, all right? Well, that would be a unique piece of art, but all of these here are just yellow, right? And if we use all of the same colours, that's where it becomes quite limited. I'll give you another example. If we go for the chef's head, the caveman body, the ballerina legs, it's very limited, but that's where the rules come into this. All right. So the rules of the game are this. Select a head to get started and place it on the board. So let's say we go for the chef's head.
Yeah.
The second part of the game is select a body using a different coloured background. See now we're opening up lots of different choices. So let's go for a different colour. I'll go for the red background. I'll go for the bear. And then the final rule, which is right here, is pick some legs from an unused background to finish off your character. Let's go for the octopus legs. And there, I've now created what would be a unique piece of art, right?
Yeah.
So now you are going to create your own, all right? You're going to create your very own little piece of art with your decisions and your choices. So I'm here for now. So what do you want to change this head for? It's entirely up to you. Can you see them all okay?
Yeah, what's the one on the bottom left? It's not a cowboy or something, is it?
This one here, the cowboy.
Yeah, we're going to have the cowboy.
Let's go for the cowboy. Now, what do you want to change the body for?
I am going to go. Is that Santa Claus's body?
Yeah, you want to go for Santa?
Yeah.
Good choice. I'm going to place that right there. And that leaves us with some legs.
We'll go for the ballerina then.
The ballerina legs. So you basically have just followed all of the rules exact. Select a head and place it on the board. Select a body using a different coloured background. Pick some legs from an unused background to finish off your character. Are you happy with that? Is there anything you want to change? Are you happy with this?
No, do you know what? I'm happy with that.
Good. All right. Excellent. Well, the truth is, do you remember right at the beginning I asked you if you were familiar with this game?
Yeah.
Well, the reality is it's not a game. It didn't really exist in a card format. All right. And these rules, these are not real rules. These were actually here to influence you from the word go. If you look really close at the rules, do you see on rule number 1, what colour is the number 1?
I can't really make it out, but I'm going to say green.
It's green. Then the number
red.
2 is red. And the number 3
yellow
is yellow. And you picked green, red, yellow. That is exactly what you decided, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you're probably thinking, well, is that it? Am I really influenced? But if we turn over the instructional sheet, you will see you have been influenced well ahead of time.
That is great. It's great. And do you know what? Even as a magician, it doesn't feel like a multi... Well, no multi-out should feel like a multi-out anyway, but it just feels so clean.
Yeah.
It's
obviously
it's
I'm just performing this to you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really, really clean, and the outs are all really, really strong. I'm happy in a moment we can go over a few of the outs if you like, and I can show you the different outcomes if you like.
If you're happy to do that, I'm sure we'll be happy to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that I really like here is, when I point, if you look at the number 1, obviously I'm performing this to you on a camera.
Yeah.
And when I'm performing to a group of people, I'm not really this, somebody who kind of engages everybody because I'm with them and we've got that energy, And I'll, what I like to do is point out. Do you remember right at the beginning I pointed at number 1, then there was number 2, then there was number 3. What colour is the number 1? It's green, and you placed a green down. Then you placed a red down and yellow down. And at this point, they almost think that that's it.
Yeah.
So now when you hit them with and turning it over, look on the back, you can see we've got this cowboy. You pick the cowboy head. You pick the the Santa Claus body and the ballerina legs. This was all predicted well ahead of time. You haven't just got that one single out.
Yeah.
You've got how you apparently influence it. If you want to use that, then you can do. And that happens with most of the outs, but not all of them. But half of the outs, you can show them how you influence the entire outcome.
Which is great because it's it's sort of a minor hit, isn't it? I mean, it's a hit, and it's sort of that bit when you're fishing. That's when you get the hook, and then you bring them right in with that big, the big smack. It's I think it's great.
Let them believe that was it, and then when you hit them with your actual reveal, it's
because you're going to have that moment where they react, and then they start thinking, oh yeah, but maybe it would have always been those colours, and then when you turn over this other thing, it's like, right, okay, well now we know 100% we've got a surefire hit sort of thing. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, thank you. So we can, if you want, do you want to just go over one more now and I'll show you another out?
Yeah, go on. Let me bring you up full screen.
Great. So we'll go rule number 1, select a head to get started and place it on the board. Rule number 2, select a body using a different colour background. Rule number 3, pick some legs from an unused background to finish off your character. So,
Okay.
Peter, I've got mine here. What do you want to change the head for? It's entirely up to you.
Okay. What heads have we got in red?
In red, we've got a zombie.
Yeah, zombie would do.
Zombie.
I'll have the zombie.
No problem. We've got the zombie head there. So what? Well, we've now got 2 reds here. So as we know, the rules say you've got to go for a different.
Let's go caveman.
The caveman body. That's a good choice. And then that leaves us with some legs.
Yeah, I'm going to have the skeleton. I actually made those choices purely to have the skeleton legs.
And they were your choices, right?
Yeah.
So you arrived because you wanted that skeleton, yeah?
Yeah.
You could have had any of these cards. You could have had the bare body. You could have swapped things around had you wanted to. But we've arrived to this. The zombie head with the caveman body and the skeleton legs because you wanted the skeleton legs, right?
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Do you remember right at the beginning I introduced the game Picture Consequences?
Yeah.
And I had the box. If you listen to this, the truth is it was never a game. This was always a psychological test to see how you would do. And inside this box, if we look close, you will see there are actually 3 other cards. And those 3 cards match your decisions perfectly.
That is great. And once again, super strong. Super strong.
Yeah.
It's a very clever principle because you have got a free choice. It's not that you feel you've got a free choice. You have got a free choice. And what I really like that you've done is obviously their first choice narrows them down. So that's all your work. It's a very clever use of that method. And I'm racking my brains actually whether I've actually seen a multi-out with 3 selections that works like that. I presume I must have done in the past, but nothing stands out to me. Something like that.
I've researched and tried to find anybody. This is the thing, right, about this that I really like. And I like about this is with a multiple out routine, and I don't want to say a standard multiple out routine because that's not what I mean. But with the majority of multiple out routines, there'll be 5 or 6 different objects on the table. And then there are these different things on the table as well, right?
Yeah.
Such as an envelope, and then in the envelope that came out of a leather pouch, as an example. And that's great, right? But the thing that's different about this is they actually have more than one choice of these cards, but they can also put them in different orders. So, but the really cool thing is this, the amount of outs that are needed are the exact same with a routine where you would need 6 different outs. So from all of the decisions that they've got and how they build it up, there is still only 6 different outcomes. It shouldn't be 6 different outcomes. It should be quite a lot more outcomes. But, because of the nature of the rules of the game, everything seems like there's a lot more choice. And the idea of placing all the reds down at the beginning and explaining that your choices are limited, and then if we actually mix it around with different colours, we open up lots more different possibilities, right?
Yeah.
But in actual fact, we don't open more possibilities. The amount of possibilities are pretty much still the same. Well, they're actually lessened. But by demonstrating with all reds or all yellows that your choices are limited until the rules of the game come in, it now opens up a lot of different possibilities. So it's the rules of the game that kind of set the restrictions. And although they don't feel like restrictions, it all feels like it's free choices. it is repeated, but it doesn't appear to feel like, oh, well, I don't know what I can pick. I can't pick anything now. You know, as far as the participants concerned, they're not going to feel like there's no choice. Their mind is like bombarded with all of these different cards, and they feel like they can pick any, you know. And the
other nice thing I was going to say as well, and you do it on the trailer, is you then give them a choice. So if someone feels the legs, they haven't got much of a choice, or they wanted those legs, you say, well, you can have them, but you'll have to switch this, choose another middle bit or whatever. So, you know, it really is a free selection in their mind, and it is a free selection if they're following the rules of the game, which they will do. But the combinations, when you talk about the effect, when you introduce them, you could actually say, I mean, I haven't worked out, but there's got to be, if you weren't following the rules, there's got to be 20, 30 different combination outcomes you could have. And you could quite easily start up and go, like, just with these cards, you could actually make 30 different images.
Well, when I'm performing this, I actually lie and I say there are 94 different possible combinations.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably miles out, but mathematically, I'm dyscalcular anyway. But I'll just kind of explain there are 94 different combinations. But the reality is, if you put all the bodies down, you know, there probably are a lot more different choices.
Yeah.
But there's no real kind of feel of restriction in that sense. And that's where these rules, and what I like about this is, I didn't want to go up to a group of people that I'm performing this to and say, in a moment, you're going to pick a head, and then you've got to pick a body from a different colour back. Now, you're going to pick a different coloured background, you know. By having the rules of the game and making the audience who are watching, feel like they're playing a game, you know, the restrictions are now not restrictions. They're actually just the rules of what this game is, you know. So the magician doesn't have to feel that guilt of having to go up to a group and saying, now I want you to pick a different body from a different background. You know, it's like you've explained what the rules are, and you've also explained that the rules of the game give you a lot more choice. You know.
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. I absolutely love it. It's something that we've been demming in the shop as well, and our customers love it. It's a great little thing. Where would you say would be the ideal performing arena for this? Where do you perform this?
Well, I've performed it close up at tables, and I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but a lot of the places where I perform in general, you know, if people are eating food or whatever, you know, in that wedding environment, obviously I won't perform it on those tables. But, you know, as people are in the bar area or whatever, I'll just stick these down, because the reality is that I'm spreading these out to make the table look full. But as you put them out, you can put it all, you know, nice and close together like this, you know. And if you think about a multiple out routine, you've got to put some objects down and then your prediction down anyway. So in reality, it's not taking up that much extra room.
No.
But to answer like properly, I think like a parlour kind of setting would be really nice, or just that opportunity when you're performing for a group of people and everything gathered, and if you just go to your case and you pull this out and you've got a little table to set it all up on. But now what's really nice here is once you've got that opportunity with a group of people, you don't have to ask just one person to make the decisions. You can now start asking other people, which head do you want? Which body would you like? You know, and then get the kid to pick the legs, or, you know.
Yeah, so, I think that's great. And also, you know, any magician that does like a mix and mingle type event, you usually find that there are tables around the side of the room, or there's little tables where people are putting their drinks down, something like that. You approach a little group of people, and that's the other thing. You've just covered it there as well. If you're performing to a group, you've now got 3 people involved. You know, one with the head, one with the body, and then you can get them sort of changing each other's bits and everything else. It's a fun trick, interactive, and it's got a great payoff. Really got a great payoff. All the outs are strong. They're all very well thought out. They're all very natural as well. I think it's great, mate.
Oh, thank you. One other little thing that just to point out is this: as you're performing the routine, what you can actually do is remove the out. So one thing, during the performance, you might have noticed that there aren't lots of different things that aren't the cards on the table. There's just these things, these objects here. We've got the board, we've got the instructions, and the playing card box, right? Well, all during the actual performance, the moment the head goes down, I can remove the options, the other outs from the table.
Yeah.
And now we can work with just what's here. Obviously, you wouldn't do it in the way that I just did, where I just pick them up and put them in my pocket. I can just casually pick them up as I'm chatting away and put them in my pocket as they now make the rest of the decisions. So the outs can actually be removed as you're performing this, and it will go completely unnoticed, because in a multiple out routine or another style of multiple out routine, them objects have to stay there because you've got maybe 4 or 5 objects, they make their decision and you've got to then instantly reveal it. But I think the ultimate strength of this is having the ability to just remove those extra outs casually as you're chatting away. You pick up the box, that goes into your pocket, and now I'm just left with this to reveal, or whatever that out is that you leave. So yeah. I hope that makes sense.
It really did make sense. Yeah, it's great. It's a great effect. It's called Picture Consequences. It's available at Alakazam right now. Skill level, we're talking beginner, so anyone of any skill level could do it.
One other little thing, sorry, Peter.
Yeah.
And this is how it's been designed, is there's no memory work. You don't have to remember anything. Because everything is actually colour-coded up. So if you look down the box, we've got these little spots on the box. They're always on display. All right. We've got the colour code on the instructions.
Yeah.
They're on display. And we've got the colour code down here on the board. So there's literally nothing to remember.
Brilliant. Do you know what? That was the question I was going to ask you, and I forgot. I was going to ask you about memory, and I literally forgot to ask. I should have wrote it down. Honestly,
well, if you
mate,
asked me to remind you, I wouldn't have been able to.
It's great. So what's next for Joel?
Well, we're currently getting ready for Blackpool, aren't we?
Of course.
I think for me, the big thing at the moment is what we spoke about earlier, Miracle Studio. You're just putting a lot of time and a lot of effort into that, just to have a really nice, solid platform where it's just how I want it to be, and I've really genuinely just enjoyed it so much, and I think prior to lockdown, I had like a really good, flourishing, performing business, and lockdown absolutely trashed me as a performer. I lost my cabaret club. I lost, the best worth of bookings, and I haven't ever kind of fully recovered, as a performer is the truth. And I know a lot of people have, and they've just flourished and bounced back, and they're out gigging. It never bounced back like that for me, and my business was, as a performer, was just an absolute success. So I lost that side, and then setting this up has just, really kind of made me realise that, this community that we're in, for me, it's like, it's not an industry. For me, it's a community. And, to feel what I've felt, I've got a family that I support. I've got a big family as well. There's 5 kids. And, lockdown was tough, and it's kind of stuck with me. And I really think that Setting up the Miracle Studio wasn't only good for me in the sense to give me that again, financially, because it's not necessarily about that, because it's not even financially, this thing that's making me profit or anything at the moment. But I think the one thing it has done is, as I say, it's just kind of reassured me that what I'm doing, people like and people enjoy, and that to me is quite important. So I'm just really appreciative and hope that people can see what I'm trying to do, and
you're certainly one of the good guys, mate. You're certainly one of the good guys. You always, you always work hard. You've got a really good work ethic. Your creations are always so well thought out. And I've known you for a few years, and I know you put your all into everything you do, like literally everything you do. So, I wish you nothing but success, mate. You really deserve it. And obviously anyone going to Blackpool, make sure that you pop over and visit Joel, because to watch him perform live is great as well. And he always has a couple of little things that you most probably haven't heard of that will knock your socks off. So
thank you.
Yeah, make sure you see it.
What about you? What's new with you?
It's not about me.
It is. It's about all of it, right?
Well, we've got the deep dive. So Harry, Alec, this is the first deep dive, so it's a work in progress at the moment. But Harry's doing fantastically on his social media. The Alakazam community is growing and growing and growing, which makes me, so proud of the whole team. Andy, Harry, Jenny, Emma, everyone's working so hard. We've got loads of great stuff coming out. We've just spent 2 days filming with the legend that is Craig Petty for some future releases with him. And last year, myself, Jenny and Harry weren't at Blackpool. We had the great Wayne Goodman managing the stand because we couldn't make it. This year we're back. So the Alakazam family will be behind the Alakazam stand. So come up and see us. I will be walking around a lot of the time. Well, most probably won't this year, but I usually walk around. So you'll most probably catch me hanging about Joel's stand or something like that, being amazed.
Good.
Joel, just want to say thank you so much. You're the first episode of Deep Dive.
I hope I dived deep enough.
You certainly did. You certainly did, mate. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. And I wish you all the best. The effect is brilliant. Guys, support Joel. Pop over to the site, buy the effect. Joel, I will see you at Blackpool, my friend.
You will indeed. You'll see me there. I'm looking forward to seeing you, Peter, in the flesh, so I can touch you. I can't hear. Not in that way. You know what I'm saying. I'm not going.
I know what you're trying to say. And remember, we need to get you down to the studio for another Academy.
Oh, I would love to. I've got a lot of material, so I would really like that. That would be
brilliant. We'll sort that out. Thanks, Joel, and I'll speak to you soon, Peter. My friend.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the very first episode of Deep Dive. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments underneath if you would like me to do a deep dive on a specific trick. Our aim is to get one of these deep dives up on a Sunday afternoon to give you some Sunday viewing, and hopefully everyone will be as giving as Joel Dickinson was there with the effect. It's a phenomenal effect. His thinking behind it is great. It really is great. Even the fact of getting rid of the outs halfway through the routine, I thought was very, very clever. Everything about it I love. And Joel always puts his all into every single product. And if you are watching this, please remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you will be notified when we go live with future videos. So for me, Peter Nardi, I want to thank you all for joining us on this Alakazam deep dive into Picture Consequences by Joel Dickinson, and I will see you again next week. See you then.